The world is old and the powers are weary. The god at the door of night has fallen, and the great enemy of the world has come back from the timeless void. The shadow has awakened the great evils to regain dominion over Ardar. Darkness shall cover the land, if not of the deeds of a small fellowship of elf friends. Join the players of this Dungeons & Dragons campaign as they fulfill the events of the Dag or Daggeroth prophecy and strive with Morgoth on the plains of Valinor. Welcome to the Undying Lands in Part 3 of the Inglorion Bastards Trilogy, Trials of the Valar.
Well, let's talk first before you decide. You can do all sort of the level up stuff, even roll hit dice for your extra level without actually doing a long rest. In this case, it's up to you. It might have consequences, but so here's the scene. So first of all, just so Vic is caught up. Here is the octagram of Ilmarin with the tasks, the trials that you've done. You've done the trial of Ulmo, of Vanya, of Irmo, or Lorien, the trial of Vanya. So you've done 4. You have 4 to go. You can tell which of the Valar you've done the trials for because they are no longer sort of dormant in the slumber state, weakened. The ones that are weakened are by their thrones, just kind of sitting there lifeless, sort of moving magically in the non-existent breeze. But all the ones that you've sort of freed by doing their trials are standing right just behind the portal, along with Tilion, the carrier of the moon, and Arian, the carrier of the sun. In addition, you see Ingwe. Vic, have you seen this before?
No.
This map? Okay, so that's kind of why I'm describing it here. So Ingwe is the high king of all of the elves, but he's king of one of the tribes of the elves that you're familiar with because they live closest to the Valar, called the Vanyar.
Yeah, I remember that.
So they're the Vanyar, the Teleri, and the Noldor elves that are sort of the elves that came over. There's all different kinds of elves here now because it's so far advanced in the timeline of Arda. But these were the 3 main ones. And Ingwe, the High King, has been kind of your guide here in the palace. I don't think I ever showed you what it looks like here. Tani Quetel is the name of the palace, and it looks like this.
Ooh.
On the highest peak in the world. So Tani Quetel is the peak, and Ilmarin is the name of the palace. So you come here, and the tree is over here now that's still sort of kind of moving around. And then you see one other person who you haven't seen in a long time, and he looks very different. Did you have a different picture for him, or are we going to abandon that, Vic?
Oh, well, this was kind of a joke here, but I'll say since I'm a resurrected celestial.
Let's see. Oh, jeez. Nice.
Hey.
Yeah. Oh, Kurt Russell would be so pissed, man. All right, so and for Charlie, who hasn't seen him before, Okrin what is a bard? Do you know what a bard is, Charlie?
Yes, I do.
Okay, I know you've played before. I'm sorry, I don't mean to.
No.
So he is actually an immortal being who fell in one of the fights, mostly for like dramatic effect because Vic wasn't here. But Vic and I had a plan for his character, and I don't think I told you what the plan was though, Vic. Did I just said trust me?
Yep, it's always that.
All right, so he when Vic passes on in that battle, he wakes in like an all white location, which kind of like Gandalf did as he fell out of the world, and he was basically given another body, and some of your memories are fuzzy, but you come back with an item, and I'll share it with everybody, and then you can tell the thing that I shared with you. You can tell the people what it is and sort of why you have it if you want. So
okay. Yeah, that's cool.
He presents this to the group.
Hey. Yeah. And as I'm carrying that, I look over to Mor-lomín and I say that you, man in black. This is meant for you. This is the crown of Kurumo. Iru is giving you the chance to change your fate and to be the keeper of the sacred fire.
Oh boy.
You guys are all a little nervous at that.
Yeah. Well, +4 staff. What does that mean?
It anything that he casts with the staff, I believe it sort of gives it a bonus, right?
Like to attack those?
Yep.
Attack rolls or spells or whatever.
Yep.
Does it raise the DC of the?
I don't know about that. I don't think
It just does 4 extra damage.
Yeah, I don't think
Oh,
so.
it's damage, not attack rolls.
I think
Attack rolls, yes.
it's both attack and
Oh,
damage.
okay. I'm just curious.
You shall not.
So it's so if you guys know the story,
Saruman staff.
It is.
well, it's not the whole staff. So it's just the crown.
Just the
So
top.
Part of it.
just the tip. Yeah.
Just- yes.
So
Not some tips.
So, can we? Yeah.
yeah, you while you're here, you can affix it to something. Maybe we'll pull a Groot, and the awakened tree will offer you a branch.
Hot.
But whatever. So the story goes, right, when Saruman was, I believe it was when he was slain. Although it could have been before that. It was basically when Gandalf. I think Gandalf broke his staff.
Yeah, he just looked at him. He said, "Your staff is broken."
And so yeah, so he basically it's the tip of the staff. So if you also remember when Gandalf said he was the keeper of the sacred flame, the flame of Arnor, or the flame imperishable.
It's true.
You know I thrash.
Who's thrashing? What?
So Mor-lomín, John, you can kind of add this to your, if you accept it. You might not. I mean, you're this creature of darkness, right? But you've been on this quest now, and maybe serving the good guys is not all bad, right? I don't know what you're thinking.
No, I think I would gladly take it.
So Okrin, who was he was your original tour guide around the Blessed Realm, because he's been here before, so he knew a lot of the people. He showed you around kind of, and then he fell, and now he's back to aid you in your quest. Now might be a good time to review the prophecy cards. So let me share that with you. So I'm just going to we'll do the first one first, right? So this is the Prophecy of Mondos Part 1, right? So this describes the Timeless Void and basically Morgoth coming back, right? Okay, and that the last battle will be on the fields of Valinor. Okay, Part 2 describes who's going to be in the battle. Tolkis, Eonwe, Turin Turambar. Now, Turin Turambar's spirit is inside of Faradir, and MJ's character, Zelindor, is the avatar of Eonwe. You still haven't brought Tolkis into this. You've heard his name before, but you haven't done anything with him yet. There's actually a trial that you have to do. I think it's the trial of Tolkis. And then the Part 3 here, sorry if I'm not sharing these with you, but Part 3 is... Therefore shall the earth be broken and remade, and the Silmarils shall be recovered out of air and earth and sea. For Feanor, who created the Silmarils, shall sunder them willingly to Yavanna, and will rekindle the 2 trees, and a great light shall come forth, and the mountains of Valinor shall be leveled, so that the light shall go out all over the world. And in that light the Valar will grow young again, and the elves awaken, and all their dead arise. So I think that might describe sort of what you're going for, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so I guess Ingwe would come up and say, now that we have, he says we have the 2 trees, but that's not entirely true, right? Because Tesoro has not become a tree yet, totally. He's almost there. Actually, your dexterity needs to go down by 1 more, Tesoro.
Wow.
And so he's becoming more and more true, and your hit points obviously increase new tree form by 10.
Nice.
So he's saying that, but Ingwe looks at Tesoro and says, we're getting to the point where we have to figure out what we're going to do about this, because the last thing we need is to lose an ally against Morgoth, but we also need to we got to stop putting this tree in danger, right?
Hmm.
So we got to figure out what we're going to do about that. He says, we should try to remove the cloak, but we could do it now, and it may, the less that it's fused with you, probably the less damage it's going to do. If the longer we wait, the more damage it's going to do. However, that cordial that we talked about, Miruvórë, we don't have that yet, so we could wait until we have the elixir, and that might actually help the damage. But again, if we wait for that, that could do even more damage trying to remove the cloak from you. So he kind of asked you guys what you want to do about that.
Basically, do we vote to remove the cloak with all the damages that go along with it or not?
What's that?
Basically, are you asking us to decide if we remove the cloak or not?
Yeah. So I think you guys should decide at this point whether you're going to... He's suggesting remove it. This is the first time someone was like, all right, we got to do something about this. Let's remove it. And so he's saying, if we do it now, it's going to do a lot of damage, like enough that it might actually kill him. And so I'm going to give you the damage total, and you can kind of decide whether you want to go forward. But he said you could also wait until
He has 3 health left, so like as long as it's like more than 4 damage, he's done, right?
Well, I mean, if you do a long rest or something,
or heals, right?
I could also do heals.
Exactly.
Yeah, I could.
So it'd probably be better to heal first, anyway.
So let me tell you the mechanics of this. So today, if you do it today, it's going to do 35 d10 damage, and which you could survive, but you also might not survive. And if you get creative with it, right? So you like start to peel it off, and you start rolling the damage, and then you're like, no, I'm going to do a rest. For every like hit dice that you use, you're going to lose 1 dexterity. Are you doing some tests?
Yeah. 35 d10, that's how it is.
It's 5.5 times. On average, it's 5.5 times 35. So
yeah, about 184.
Yeah, that would kill me.
Yeah, but I can also heal you a lot.
Yeah, so basically, if you interrupt this progression, they're saying it has to be like you have to basically remove it all at once. And if you do it slowly, or if you're using, like, let's say hit dice, or people are healing you along the way, you will continue to, every time that happens, you will continue to lose dexterity.
What if, like, literally, like, they're healing me as it's being pulled off? Is that possible? Like, we don't pause, we just heal.
does anyone have a spell that...
Ingwe says...
I have the healing spirit, so I could just stand next to that, but that's not going to heal me that much.
Ingwe is pretty sure that this is best done without interrupting. He says, I'm not sure what would happen if you try that.
Can I regenerate them, or resurrect them, rather? Are those spells available to me? Because I have Raise Dead or Resurrection.
No, absolutely not.
Okay. I used to have Raise Dead. Is that not an option?
No, no one...
That's cool.
What if it kills him, but it doesn't actually, like, completely kill him? Like, his hit points are 0, but he's not.
Well, he wouldn't be dead, right?
But if we heal him...
What's your max hit points?
Well, my hit points in my normal form are 125, and
So
I don't think I can take the cloak off in Guardian form, though, but that's 221.
Okay, so if you're 125 in your normal form, and you take the cloak off. If you take 250 points of damage, you're dead, because it has to be 100% of your damage beyond 0. I think that's the idea. So by rule of numbers, you're not going to die if we heal you to max. However, is there something that we can put on him, that we can cast a spell for him to take less damage, like a rage or something like that?
Temporary hit points.
What kind of damage is it? Can we give him like a resistance or anything?
Yeah, we could give him a resistance, maybe.
So again, Ingwe has given you guys a recommendation. He's suggesting you not interfere with it. You could still try to justify it and everything.
Well, what about a resistance? Would that be an awful thing?
I know what's going to happen, but you're welcome to try any of this.
All right. Well, let's leave him alone. He dies.
Well, but he also doesn't have to do it right now. He can also. So the other option is waiting until you can restore the wells of Varda and can make that cordial, the Miruvórë.
Mm-hmm.
Right when the dew from the 2 trees start falling into the wells again. Now, we should discuss that. So you said that the next trial that you want to do is the trial of, the trial of Varda, right?
Whichever one restores the wells of Varda.
Right. So there's a caveat to that. So she's saying that she's not sure that just by having the trees and having the trees sort of having the dew from the trees fall will first of all, the two trees aren't really in final form, right? Because Tesoro isn't tree bound or isn't root bound. But that she's not sure that just having the two trees and having the dew fall like it did, thousands of years ago will sort of bring the wells back to full form. I guess it's not she. Ingwe would be telling you this. He says, "I'm not really sure what to do." And I guess Yavanna would also be talking with you. Yavanna is sort of like the nature god. She thinks that if there was some way that you could reclaim that water that was originally stolen, that maybe that would help. Does anyone remember what happened to the well of Arda?
They were drinking by Ungoliant.
They were drinking by Ungoliant. Yeah,
that's right. Yeah, that freaking giant spider.
Yeah,
the Spider Queen or something.
So big that Morgoth was afraid.
Oh, great.
Yeah.
And John, that thing that I whispered you.
Yeah, I also had a vision and saw 1,000 eyes of darkness heading to a lush hilltop. Palantiri.
1,000 eyes of darkness. That sounds.
Yeah.
Spidery.
1,000 of them. I counted them all.
Seems like an unnecessary number of eyes.
Did you count them a few times?
I'm very sure it's exactly 1,000.
Okay.
So does that place?
What's the lush hilltop?
Does the place sound familiar to anyone?
Lush hilltop.
Lush hilltop. That's
big. Palantiri.
Is that like?
It's probably so. This Palantir is supposed to look back out on Middle Earth, right? Or is this a different one?
This Palantir, no one was sure what it did, but it had given John a few visions. He originally saw a creature of darkness. What did you see in it? Do you remember, John?
I don't remember that.
I believe it was a creature of darkness. I think in a mountainous region, I think is what he saw. And I think maybe he saw himself holding the Palantiri at one point. But this is the first vision he's seen in a while. And it's basically the way he describes it is it's almost like first person, like a video game, right? He sees a mountainous region and he sees a valley, and then the next thing he sees is like a really lush, sort of beautiful hilltop, and I think the more he would describe it, the more the person named after this hill would recognize it. So as Elendor, you would recognize what he's describing as Elohar, which is this.
Oh, that's where the two trees were.
It's also where Ungoliant originally drank the wells of Varda dry. So this is what you see. So you guys can discuss what do you think is going on.
1,000 eyes of darkness where she drank the well dry. So
how do we know if that's like in the present, past, or future? It happened in the past.
Well, what's the prophecy of it?
Maybe it's saying like we need to make sure that doesn't happen right when we fill the wells back up.
So John, you see this lush valley and this hill from a mountainous region. That's your vantage point. So as you're just describing this, probably either Vanya or Yavanna would come forward. By the way, Okrin, your Valar is actually in the same room as you right now, which is kind of cool.
What's up, lady?
So Yavanna would say that the scene that you're describing is definitely a Zelohar, and the mountainous region she thinks is possibly this land. If somebody wants to read that.
Somebody's lighting a fire. A mighty mountain to the south and the east of Valinor, looming over both Avathar and the Valley of the Valar, was the peak that Morgoth and Ungoliant climbed over before creeping into Valinor to destroy the trees. Is that clear? Did I sound like too much of an ass?
No, that's good. Higher Mentir. So John, you would know this peak, Higher Mentir, is the sort of the highest peak in Avathar. It's the peak that sort of makes your land so shadowy and so delicious to you. And she, Yavanna, can't believe that this is happening now. If it's actually happening now, she says that Ungoliant was said to be in Middle Earth. So if Ungoliant, if this is Ungoliant and he's back in the Blessed Realm, she must have had help getting here, which means that Morgoth has already regained enough strength to begin assembling allies. So you guys will have to decide whether you think this is happening now, and if so, basically Ungoliant is, if it's happening now, Ungoliant is here in the mountain range, looking down on Azelohar where the trees are going to be planted. And so you'll have to make a decision whether you want to do a long rest or a short rest.
I don't think we can really risk if it's now or not.
Let me see if you'll let me have this spell here. It's called Catnap. It basically takes 10 minutes to do a short rest.
Oh, I have that too.
Yeah, that'll work.
I think you said it, yeah.
Yeah, so you guys basically just have to decide if you think this is happening now. What do you think Ungoliant's end game is? Like, if this is Ungoliant, it's kind of frightening. The Valar actually seem to be pretty nervous. Yavanna and Lorien and Olmo and Vanya they're actually nervous that Ungoliant would come to Ilmarin here.
So they think that he's going to leave that lovely hilltop and come here?
Well, they seem to be, because they're not at full strength. There's a white tree here and a gold tree here. It seems like maybe Morgoth is trying to, deliver a final blow.
Ungoliant wants to devour all light. I'm curious.
Are you going to try to take off the thing?
Oh, yeah. Did you say, so if we have the water stuff, is it, you said it can maybe heal me too, or it might not do as much?
The longer you wait, the more damage it's going to do. However, the healing elixir of the Valar is very powerful, and it has healing and restorative properties.
So it would do more damage, but also I would be healed a little bit too?
You think. Yeah, you're not exactly sure the mechanics of it, but yeah, they've been talking about this elixir for you for a couple sessions now.
And if we go to this place, there's a chance that we could get it? Or...
Oh, that's interesting. Yeah, you guys are sort of connecting the dots now. So who would know this? So maybe, I guess Lorien would say, who's also called Irmo, would say that the wells of Varda reside inside of Ungoliant. Although, while Ungoliant lives, it is tainted that perhaps spilling the blood of Ungoliant, and collecting that and bringing it back to the wells would somehow, feed the well, rekindle the well.
Oh, so we don't have to kill him, we just need to steal his blood.
He says I'm not sure. As long as Ungoliant lives, Ungoliant is a threat to all the things of the light. The Azelohar and the trees and the well will always be. Ungoliant has basically an unquenchable desire to eat and to devour. So this is like prime place. This is like buffet for Ungoliant.
Hail Vanya, full of grace.
Yeah.
I'm gonna bring my prayer beads. Go.
All right, so let's decide here whether you're taking off the cloak, whether you're doing a long rest.
Do they know how close I am to turning into a tree?
How many dexterity points do you have left?
I have 14.
All right, so you're about 14 dexterity points away from turning into a tree.
Oh. You still got lots of room.
Yeah, okay, but eventually you're going to be dog shit in combat. So based on these trials, that you need both the trees, the Silmarils, and the well to be filled. Except there's a problem. You have one of the trees that you can sort of root. What's the problem with the other tree? It's up walking around.
Yeah.
Right. So if you want the elves to be reawakened, if you want the light to cover the land, if you want the Pelori mouths to be leveled, if you want your black sword back, right?
If you want the cure to cancer.
If you want Miruvórë to be made, right? Like, there's some things that need to happen.
Right. So Max, do you want to risk? You want to try taking it off now or after we fight her? Those are like about spicy. Massive damage can kill you instantly. When damage reduces you to 0 hit points, and then there is damage remaining, you die if the remaining damage equals or exceeds your hit point maximum. So it sounds like you're right.
Yeah.
I say we just go. Let's go.
Flip the coin. Let's go.
Max is saying we go.
Go where?
I think we should risk it.
All right.
Let's get the risk.
Okay.
How many?
Heal it up.
So, have you healed yet, Tesoro?
No, I'm gonna heal. Should we do a short rest?
Yeah,
And catnap?
at least a short rest.
Oh, catnap. Yeah.
Jared, how do I take the staff thing?
Okay, yeah. So let's one thing at a time though. Let's do if he's gonna roll this now. Let's. Are you doing it?
There's your catnap, and I'm going to do that. No, we're going to go as what he said. We're going to catnap, and then we'll look for someone with 1,000 eyes, 1,000 legs, and a big stinger.
Elixir in the belly.
So whoever else has less than max hit points.
You don't have to roll those, Mike.
Why?
Because he gave you a long rest, right?
Yeah,
Sure.
Give you a short rest in 10 minutes. You want 50 more hit points?
Cool. Sounds good.
That's good. Then you got 50 more hit points. And also, I guess before we get rolling, I should indicate that I think we get an extra 22 hit points because I'm going to tell you a story of where I've been.
Yeah. So you're doing the trial of Varda now. Yeah. So you would have the trial of Tolkas. Remember, Tolkas is the other person that's mentioned in the other Valar, I should say, not person, mentioned in the prophecy that fights against Morgoth.
Yeah, let's go grab his ass.
There's the trial of Aule, which is to reforge Enguenor, I think is the name of the chain that binds Morgoth.
No, that's lame.
Which Burren might want to do because it involves going back to Middle Earth and to dwarf territory. And the trial of Orome, which is going to be a new kind of experience for everybody because it is to go to the birthplace of the elves and to try to learn the music of the Ainur.
Ooh, I can do that.
What is the music going to do for us?
Well, Marco, you want to tell them about the Ainulindale?
You mean the Bible?
Well, the actual...
Basically, they sung the universe into being or whatever. Or maybe it was just the world, I don't remember. But we'll have to sing another song when Morgoth is defeated.
I believe this is in the prophecy as well. So if you're asking about that trial, I guess maybe one of the Valar would share this with you. Part 4 of the prophecy. And it looks like some of this may have come true already. Someone has been gifted as the keeper of the sacred fire, and that's Mor-lomín. But you certainly wouldn't know where to begin to join the Ainur, which are the Valar and the people like Okrin. You wouldn't know how to begin the music of the Ainur, and so that's that trial. So where would you, after the trial of Varda, what would you do?
Everyone gives me my sword, then.
So the way that it's probably going to work is that once the well and the trees are rekindled, assuming you guys separate Tesoro from his cloak, that's going to trigger the events in the prophecy part 3, and the elves will reawaken, and the events of the prophecy will basically unfold. And once the elves are free, you can implore them to recreate. Remember, we talked about how there are only a few people that could reforge your sword. And so you'll have to sort of ask them to reforge the sword.
Okay, so that's gonna happen when we finish this one.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. It may.
Let's do Tolkas then.
Well, I'll have to do I think either Tolkas or Aule. Probably Tolkas, and then Aule, and then Orome seems the least pressing.
Okay, cool. So I'll plan for Tolkas after this. So the trial of Tolkas involves you going to Thangorodrim.
That's cool.
Yeah. Do you guys remember Thangorodrim?
No.
Let me share that with you. The stronghold of Morgoth during the First Age, the underground stronghold hewn into 3 volcanoes in the Angband region. The stronghold was crushed under the weight of the massive dragon and Caligon.
That one. Caligon, take me away.
So remember when Turin traveled to Thangorodrim to reawaken the dead body of Ancalagon? There was something else that he set into motion. Are you guys ready now? Are you ready to travel?
Do it.
Let's do it.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So this is where we're going to start. You guys are on top of Azelohar, the hill in which Zelindor is named after, the hill of the 2 trees and the home of the well of Varda. And
instantly loses 5 dexterity.
and so
He becomes stationary.
it's at night, and you just feel like the night is moving around you. So I'll let you.
This is it's a lush hilltop that I saw.
What's that?
Is it the lush hilltop that I saw in the vision?
Correct.
Or we don't see 1,000 eyes of darkness yet.
Not currently, but I'm going to let you guys get into position, and then we'll start the fight next time. Yep.
I think we form a human pyramid.
Form a human pyramid? On top, because my strength is 9.
All right, and that's where we're in for tonight, right on 11.
All right.
Very cool.
Thank you so much.
Though this marks the end of the episode, the road goes ever on. Until next time, join us at longwinded.one and consider giving us a review on Apple Music, Spotify, or really whichever platform you choose.